Libra, hello, Amanda here. Welcome to the Unseen Hands Collective. This is going to be your shift reading for January 2021. We are looking at the shape you're shifting out of this month, the shape you're shifting into, and what that shape shift looks and feels like. So Libra, the image that's coming to me for you is sitting in front of a blank canvas and putting the paintbrush to the canvas, to the paper. There's something about art and expression and pushing through any sort of voices in your head that tell you not to create art, or any resistances you have around your creative expression and making things and allowing your creativity to be expressed. It's coming through as painting, but it doesn't have to be. Maybe this is poetry for you. Maybe this is redecorating your house. Maybe this, how cooking even. However your heart and your soul wants to express artistically, that's what's coming through, seems to be coming through this month, and it's really reflected in your cards. We're using the Next World Tarot today, and I'm going to show you your shift. Shifting out of the Five of Wands, which says strife, and into the Page of Cups, and it says the home of expression, which is a very artistic card to me. If you look closely, this person is holding a notebook, which looks very personal. It looks like maybe a journal or a poetry book or something where they're recording their thoughts, their self-expression, their creative emotional expression. And this is not an easy Page of Cups. There is a lot of sweetness here, a lot of emotion, a lot of creativity, but there's seems to be also some difficulty in this person's face, and there's all these like torn and tattered pieces of paper around. You could almost hear this person's thoughts like, oh, I don't think my art is good enough, or what's the point of making art in the middle of such difficult times? And now, listen, I gotta talk about such difficult times, because honestly, these shift readings are creeping me out, because the same three cards are coming out for almost every sign in some combination. And I think it's a real testament to the effects of this pandemic and, the psychological, emotional, economic effects. I want to show you this. This is what's coming out. It came out for Virgo. It came out for Gemini. Came out for Capricorn. We have the Five of Wands and the Five of Pentacles as strife and turmoil. I mean, that's literally what these words say in these cards as descriptors. And you can see images of, the Five of Wands is showing an image of plants dying, and there's like toxic chemicals around this person, and it's not an easy energy, and they seem to be really trying to block out all of the chaos and all of the confusion and all of the stress that's around them, and trying to really listen internally about, to how they're feeling and tuning in with themselves. And here in the Five of Pentacles, we see a young child looking out the window and basically watching their city change. We see a for sale sign on a business. We see condos coming in. She's sitting on boxes. Her stuff is packed, and there's a real sadness here. And the Five of Pentacles can talk about major restriction, or a sense of instability when it comes to resources. The fives in general are instability. They are chaos. They're confusion. They are flux. And that kind of flux often does not necessarily feel good. It is not a comfortable thing to move through, as you can see in these cards. And then we have the Eight of Cups coming through, and we see this person essentially like leaving the city. I mean, there's such a clear narrative here of our environments and our structures and the things that we have built are changing, are maybe no longer able to sustain in the way that they have been. And so there's all of this change, which forces a shift. I mean, this says abandon on this card. And the Eight of Cups is typically about walking away from something, leaving something behind that you've perhaps invested quite a lot in favor of something that's going to be more stable for you, more sustainable. And it's not necessarily in the Eight of Cups a choice that you want to make. It's usually a choice that you feel compelled to make, a choice that has to happen. So there's often a lot of sadness and a lot of difficulty with this card. And I mean, the story here playing out is very clear for many of the signs so far. And here it is again for you. I mean, honestly, I'm stunned. Something like this hasn't really happened in this way. And it makes sense because we're living through something that many of us have not experienced before. Certainly in my generation. So here we are. Okay. The other card that came out for you here to show what your shapeshift looks and feels like is this Strength card. Which makes a lot of sense. It's really speaking to me along with the Page of Cups that, okay, yeah, we have this narrative of the structures that we've relied upon are now shifting in ways that are uncomfortable, that are likely to bring a sense of struggle and a sense of difficulty. And there's a story here for all of us in our own ways about listening to ourselves and hearing the call about what to do with that. What do we need to leave behind? And you know, the Eight of Cups is an emotional card. Cups are emotions. So for some people, yeah, that may mean leaving certain structures quite physically, leaving things behind and shifting their life. Yeah, absolutely. That's happening all over the place. But it could also mean a more emotional viewpoint of leaving behind the things that we have relied on as steady and stable and normal, and making that emotional shift. But Libra, here's where it gets more personal for you. We're seeing Strength, we're seeing the Page of Cups. It's like these are the things that you can do that can help you through this emotional transition. The Strength card, you know, we're seeing someone finding strength. You know, Strength card comes out often when we need endurance, when we need fortitude for a longer haul, which again makes a lot of sense given the events of 2020, and here we move into 2021 in COVID winter for a lot of us. So we're seeing someone nurturing their plants, focusing on what they can focus on here, which is growing plants, even if that's in their house or on their deck, you know, keeping alive what you can keep alive, finding places of joy and softness, and cultivating and growing what you can, which seems to be for you related to your art, related to your expression, creating an environment for yourself, even amidst so much mess outside of you and so much going on that is uncomfortable. Creating, you know, this says the home of expression, creating a safe space for yourself to create, to an outlet really, to talk about how you feel, express how you feel, and it does feel creative and artistic to me. And that if you can move towards that kind of expression, I think it is something that it may be a difficult transition at first, because again, you may have a lot of insecurities to work through and a lot of resistances around the creative process. But it's like, if you can move through that, it can be something that is actually a pillar of strength for you during what looks to be potentially a time of a lot of change and shifts that are not our favorite things to move through, to say the least. Okay. You know, I like this reading, Libra, which is funny to say, despite this struggle energy that is pretty much blanketing these January 2021 readings. There is hope here for you in what you are nurturing within yourself, and the dedication it takes to grow something, and specifically to grow your artistic expression and to grow your creativity. I mean, to keep these plants alive, this person has to go every day, twice a day, water them, care for them, make sure there's no mold on the leaves. You know, there's a whole element of nurturance that comes with cultivating something and allowing it to grow, and that is the same for the creative process. So I'm interested to see where this goes and to see where your creative process could take you through January. I'm going to take this into an extended now, pull some other cards and see what we can get out of this reading. So if you'd like to join me there, if this is resonating with you so far and you'd like to hear more, you can join me at unseenhandscollective.com, where you can find your extended reading in the shop or through our monthly memberships. All right, Libra, thanks for joining me here. Happy New Year. Take care. When you're dealing with all of this outside stress, it is firsthand experience, very hard to access that sense of aliveness and that spark, that impulse to create, that impulse to say, okay, like, my life is taking a downturn and everything is going to hell in a handbasket around me, and yet I'm going to sit down and paint a painting, you know? So I think that's a lot of what I felt in this Page of Cups, is this idea of like having a, you know, this person looks like they're moving through a hard emotional experience, maybe even a depressive experience. And it's like really hard to even feel the impulse to create, to even feel that spark inside of you that says, ooh, I'm going to make something today. And I think that's why the Ace of Wands is leading the clarity here, because it's like, it's all about where to start.